Usually there's a slightly larger group, but I'm going to try anyway. How many of your organizations measure employee engagement? Just show of hands. Wow, okay. How many of those actually measure organizational culture? One. All right. Well, you're going to see where I'm headed here. I'm Oliver, CEO and co-founder of Pomello, where we help companies measure organizational culture in order to predict its impact on employee engagement, performance, and turnover. Why do we do this? Because it all comes down to people. People are every company's most valuable asset and real competitive advantage. Yet most companies don't have the level of insight and analytics they do about their people as they do in sales, marketing, and ops. Culture is widely talked about. It was actually, according to Merriam-Webster, 2014's word of the year. The problem is it's been overpopularized, so much so that Mary Barra, GM, actually hates the word culture because it's just how we all behave. At Pomello, we define culture as the pattern of behavior that is reinforced by people and systems over time. In other words, it's what's left when you're all here, right? When you're not in the room. It's the norms, values, and behaviors that govern how decisions get made. Engagement is not culture. Yet companies have been measuring engagement, most companies have been measuring engagement for a while. They haven't been measuring organizational culture. And as Peter Drucker tells us, if it can't be measured, it can't be managed. So companies are flying blind when it comes to their most valuable asset and the culture that governs the environment they all swim in every day. Well, that changes today with Pomello. Pomello is based on leading research by Dr. Charles O'Reilly at Stanford University. Now, Dr. O'Reilly is one of, if not the leading authority on organizational behavior and culture measurement specifically. We've taken Charles's research, we've partnered with him to take his 30 years worth of research, turn that into software, and turn that into a product anyone can buy. A product that finally allows companies to answer fundamental questions such as, how strong is my culture? Is it strong throughout the organization? Does it vary by office location? We've seen differences between floors in an office building. Hierarchically, functionally. What are the biggest gaps across these various teams, departments, between today's culture and what we aspire to be in the future? We also believe in lifelong learning. And our software allows managers to generate individualized reports for their employees, contextualizing the data. So an employee actually understands how their perception of culture aligns or is misaligned with their peers in terms of the values that govern the environment and an understanding of the intrinsic motivators that actually drive them to be engaged and perform at a high level. This is an example of real data for, we've obviously anonymized the names here, for some of the folks at a client of ours, where you can see two individuals on the same team requiring very different managerial styles. Catherine, on the one hand here, is incredibly engaged and motivated by leadership opportunities, responsibility, autonomy, doesn't need a lot of recognition. Grace, on the other hand, is just as high-performing an employee, isn't motivated by leadership, responsibility, autonomy. A little bit of recognition goes a very long way for her. And she spikes on creativity. Finding ways to allow her to exert that creativity in the workplace further tethers her to the team and engages her, leading to longer tenure, higher performance. Now, with all this rich information we're collecting internally at our clients, we're able to help them recruit better and specifically screen talent on the basis of cultural compatibility, allowing them to see whether someone is likely to be a highly engaged employee over time, whether their intrinsic motivators are going to be triggered, and whether their values align with the values within the organization. This leads to better screening at the top of the funnel, fewer false positives, fewer false negatives, and most importantly, better, more consistent interviewing around culture fit. It's no longer a black box. They actually have data supporting where alignment or misalignment exists. Now, the science and the technology is pretty compelling, but what gets us really excited is the actual real-world impact. This is a study performed on a sales team, allowing a VP of sales to see how culture is directly tied to top-line revenue. We were able to show how a 10% increase in culture strength on this team directly leads to 30% in improved sales performance. We've done studies like this with Charles across industries, companies large and small, looking at performance, retention, customer satisfaction, engagement. With culture measurement, you actually now have the underlying drivers and inputs to affect real business outcomes. Now, I don't have the time in this short presentation here to go in depth in the technology. I will be doing a full demo tomorrow at 3 p.m. in the Grand Ballroom, where we can go walk through case studies. I'll show you all the measurement that goes into this. But if there's one thing I want to leave you with, it's basically what Lou here took a lifetime to learn, which is culture is your competitive advantage. And there is technology out there now that allows you to actually measure it, manage it, and improve it over time. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a note or come see me tomorrow. Thank you.